everybody, and welcome to the fourth installment of our Hockey Cards 101 series, where our goal is to break down all of the major aspects of hockey card collecting and the hockey hobby for newer or intermediate collectors, or even if you're a seasoned vet, I guess, to maybe learn something new. If you have not caught, to this point, any of our first three episodes in this series, we did a general overview of the hockey hobby and card collecting in part one. In part two, we looked at the different hockey card types. And in part three, all the different hockey card brands and sets. All of those episodes, if you want to check them out and haven't listened yet, are available in the Hockey Cards 101 section on hockeycardsgongshow.com. So for part four, what we thought would be fun to do, and because we've gotten a lot of feedback, this was, Troy, pretty heavily requested, right?
Yeah, it was definitely requested, and it's probably one I'm looking forward to the most because ePack is just something I'm not very familiar with. I've obviously used it, and just from a personal standpoint, I saw the WandaVision cards came out, and I know this is a hockey show, but I'm a big celebrity and TV show non-sports cards, so I will probably end up buying a box of WandaVision, even though it's not hockey related.
Yeah, well, you're a man of many collections, as we've talked about a bunch before, and just like you, Troy, I'm very much an ePack novice. So we had this challenge, right, where we're getting a bunch of requests for soon on our Hockey Cards 101 to cover ePack, but neither you or I are experts, of course. And so that presented a little bit of a problem, and I think we have a solution. We've brought on board today Daniel Machado from Upper Deck, so are you the manager of the ePack platform, or what's your role and title and capacity within it?
Yeah, so my official title is Senior Manager of Direct-to-Consumer Platforms at Upper Deck. So one of those being Upper Deck ePack, basically manage the day-to-day activities with an awesome team that works with me to keep everything running, but testing, uploading all the products, testing through the site functionality. So wearing a lot of different hats to make sure that thing's running as well as it can each day and that we're getting products out to collectors in a timely fashion.
Well, that was a very nice and humble and very corporate-y title that you have. So we're just going to, for the sake of our conversation, we're going to call you, what should we call him, Troy? ePack Guru, ePack Sensei, ePack. Do we have a better
anything. Yeah, something.
Because, we're just dopey
related
hockey card guys. And but no, we're really grateful, Daniel, to have you on and to kind of help us go through this conversation, because ePack really is an important part of the hockey hobby. Right? We hear about it all the time, and it's actually a pretty unique platform too. I haven't seen too many other platforms out there like it, and in many ways, unique is very good, and in other ways, unique can be very challenging because there isn't that knowledge base that people inherently have when coming to it. It's something that I think has to be learned a little bit too. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I think being so unique, it offers a lot of, aspects of collecting that you can't find anywhere else. And because it's so unique, it can be challenging for people at the start to really wrap their head around the whole digital and physical connection and, what's physical on ePack, or, what are these ePacks? I think is the biggest question that we get from people starting out.
Well, good. Well, I think we'll be able to cover that today. And we've heard from a wide spectrum of users too of ePack, from people that have never tried it to, we know a bunch of power users that are cranking out their Young Guns, Speckled Rainbows, and integrating with ComC, and we'll kind of get into all of that a little bit later too. But let's probably start at the big picture. I think that's what makes most sense to me. And so, Daniel, if you had to describe ePack, let's say to a couple of dolty hockey card collectors named Josh and Troy, how would you do that?
That's a great question. So I think, the real concept of ePack is bridging the gap between physical and digital collecting. Up until its conception, there really wasn't a connection between the two. If you were collecting physical cards, physical hockey cards, the only way you could get them was going to a hobby shop or going to a retail location like a Target or Walmart and picking your packs up there, or buying cards directly from secondary market like eBay. And then on the other side of it, there was a lot of different apps and websites where you could collect digital trading cards, but everything remained digital. Once you purchased your packs and opened them, you could trade the cards and everything interacted digitally, but they were just digital assets at the end of the day, and there was no way for you to ever take ownership of a physical card at that point. So the goal of ePack, one, was just to bridge that gap so that you could have and access the benefits of physical collecting, have physical trading cards, interact with them, trade them digitally, manage it digitally. So it's all done, at the tip of your fingers on a device or a computer, connecting those two worlds and giving collectors a different way to collect. So another big part of it's not everyone has access to trading cards where they live. They may be in a remote location where there's not a hobby shop for hours, or, not even one remotely close, or not, somewhere where they can buy at retail, or just not really fitting into the schedule. They can conveniently go to the store and pick up packs whenever they want. So here comes ePack, just over 7 years ago, launched in January of 2016, and, kind of allowed collectors to do that. They could bridge that gap between physical and digital. You have the opportunity to purchase an open pack of real physical cards, manage your whole collection digitally, trade with other collectors on the site, all simultaneously and instantly. So, I send a trade to you, Josh or Troy, and once that trade goes through, it's done instantly. We don't have to worry about shipping the cards back and forth, anything like that. It's all managed on the site, and the cards go, directly from my collection into yours once the trade's done. So that part of it was really cool. And then just allowing collectors from anywhere in the world to purchase packs of Upper Deck product at any time. I think one's great for the collectors that, you're up late at night, you're watching a hockey game, and hey, I want to pick up some packs, and your shops are closed. You can hop on ePack and pick up some packs, open while you're watching the game, and then send out some trades to collectors all over the world. So you're not really limited by time or space as you're collecting whatever you want to collect.
Do you have any, just to give people a sense of kind of the size and scope of ePack? And I got a couple things that I found, but I'm just curious to you about, how big is an ePack? Like, how many users does it have? How many cards are in collections? That sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's pretty incredible to see where we're at now from where we started in terms of the number of collectors that are on the site. It's in the six figures, which is just incredible. And if you go to the marketplace right now, there's over 20 million physical items available. So that's items that are visible for you to go and view and trade for on the site. And if you incorporate all the digital cards, there's over 80 million items available on the marketplace right now.
Yeah, I saw something like 61 million hockey cards this morning.
Yeah.
So it is a big percentage hockey, as you'd expect, with Upper Deck. But that's a lot of cards, Troy. Is that bigger than your collection, do you think, or no?
Just a bit, yeah. Just a bit.
Another thing that kind of stands out to me from a big picture perspective about the platform is that it seems like it's an opportunity to help kind of build on the community aspect of collecting too, with being able to share kind of your collection, facilitate trades, and make connections between people. Was that a real conscious part of you guys building the platform, or is that just maybe kind of a benefit that evolved out of it?
Oh, no, 100%. That was a huge part of it. It's just being able to connect the collecting world, because, you look at hockey, you've got a ton of collectors in Canada, a ton of collectors in the United States. And similar to the league where you've got players from Europe and a bunch of different countries, you've got collectors from those locations as well. And, before ePack, it'd be pretty difficult for someone over in Europe to start a trade with somebody in Canada. One, just to get connected with them, and two, having to package up and ship the cards. It's kind of a nuisance. And, even just taking the pictures, listing out what you have, all those steps are pretty cumbersome when you're trying to make trades and, interact with other people. Where now on ePack, you don't have to list out what you've got in your collection. It's shown for everybody on the site. Anyone can go in and browse the items that you've, allowed for trade. They can send you a trade pretty much at any time. And then when you're viewing your collection, you can organize it, sort it, look at other people's collections, filter for your favorite player, your favorite team, and then send that trade and not have to worry about, is this going to get lost in transit? And trades are secure. You don't have to worry about somebody scamming you or there's something going off, you can actually like review each trade, make sure it's comfortable for you, and then accept it. And as far as the community aspect goes, definitely a huge focus. We've got forums for the sports side and the entertainment side, so you can talk and engage with collectors basically anytime you want. And you can also send messages directly. And I know there's a bunch of friendships and connections that have been built with ePack over the years of people that, probably would never connect had they not had the ePack site available. So it was a big focus as ePack got started, and something we think about all the time here too.
One of the things that I've actually, in the little bit, admittedly, that I've used it though, but I think I've been impressed with and is worth bringing up is you guys have worked, it seems, to make it fairly intuitive. And what I mean by saying that is, if you're out there and you don't consider yourself a great technologist, and is that it's pretty easy. Like, you do a good job of walking people through the steps. Like, if you want to buy a pack, you say, okay, now click here to open your pack, and so you don't have to be, like I said, a technologist or have like an early adopter kind of personality to use the platform. And I assume that that's very intentional on your guys' part.
Yeah, definitely. Want to make everything as easy as possible. Getting your packs, opening your packs, sending out trades, anything that you can do on the site, we want to make it as easy, as intuitive as possible. Just because, it's a different generation collecting cards, and it's not always easy to pick up new technology like that, or like we said in the beginning, a really unique concept. So any way we can help people and guide people through that process, it's very top of mind for us.
Okay, so now we'll kind of get into a little bit sort of the nuts and bolts of how ePack works. Just so everyone knows, when you go there, you have to sign up for an account, but it's free. And then once you do, there is a feature in ePack where you can get a daily free pack, and you can choose from not just hockey, but there's multiple hockey brands. I assume that the intention of that is just to get people using the platform and understanding kind of what happens, so that before you kind of take that initial first step and buy a pack, that you kind of really get to understand how the process works. Is that correct, Daniel?
Yeah, for sure. It's free to sign up. So to access ePack, like you said, you've got to create an account. And then once you do, you can open a free pack of trading cards every single day. We have a pretty wide offering there from a lot of the different hockey products like UD1, UD2, MVP. And so those free packs are digital, so you can just build up your collection. You can start off, like you said, just seeing how the opening process works, seeing how you can manage your collection in there, and just kind of getting a taste of everything on ePack. You can send trades for those cards, and it work towards these achievements for these exclusive avatars that you can use to represent yourself on the site. So if you're a big UD1 fan, you collect that full UD1 digital purple set. Trade with other collectors as you open each pack. And if you get any dupes day over day, you can trade those out and then work towards ultimately earning one of those avatars. So you can say, I'm Daniel and I collected UD1. I got my full free digital set, and now I've got this avatar that I could only get by collecting the full set. So it really gives people the opportunity to just get a taste of the site, working through pack opening, working through trading, getting a feel for the whole system and how everything works before you dip in and say, okay, now I'm ready to buy some packs and see what the physical content looks like too.
How do you guys decide which hockey brands to make available on ePack? Is there a general rule of thumb? Is there just standard ones? Or do you guys experiment with that at all? I'm just kind of curious how those decisions are made.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's more handled in the brand product team. And now that we're 7 years in, it's been pretty consistent on which products are on ePack or which ones aren't. We want to leave some hobby exclusive products, so we're not taking anything away from the hobby shops and what they're selling. And so we've never had a product like SP Authentic Hockey or the cup on ePack. I know that's a big one that everybody's always asking about. When's the cup coming to ePack? But
I think that's what Josh was. I think that's what Josh wanted. He wanted to know when the cup is coming to ePack, just for his own selfish reasons.
Yeah, no plans of that so far. But yeah, we discussed which products format wise make sense for ePack, and generally split those between between hobby and ePack. So the hobby release goes out first, and then eventually it's available on ePack, and pretty similar format for the most part in terms of configuration, where you can, you've got the same number of cards per pack, packs per box, boxes per case, usually the same type of guarantees. There may be some hobby exclusive cards just to separate the two offerings, so that there are some reasons to go get the hobby exclusive cards. And then on the ePack side, most of the exclusives come from the achievements, which I'm sure we'll get into here at some point.
Oh, yeah. And then how long is a specific set made available on ePack? So I'll use so we're recording this in 2023 in February, and Upper Deck Series 1 came out in November, and then ePack came out a couple weeks ago. So right at the end of January, I think, if my memory serves me correct. How long will that series now be available on ePack? Is it undisclosed amount of time, or is there a standard amount of time? Just so, because I'm sure there's people wanting to work on these achievements, they want some sort of idea as to how long they'll be available to buy the pack.
For sure, yeah. When we build a product for ePack, it's built to a certain volume. So we have a certain amount of cases, and then once that sells out, then it's sold out. We won't make any more or release any more. And what's cool with the achievements is even if a product's sold out, you can still trade and earn the achievements. So, there's plenty of products that sold out from 16, 17, 18 maybe, and beyond that, that's, they're not available for purchase on the store, but you can still trade for those cards. You can still go to the achievements page and see, what you can collect and what achievements you can earn, years down the road. And that's a big one with UD1, UD2, where you've got the silver foil parallels that are exclusive to ePack and the speckled foils. Even when those products sell out, you can still collect, multiple copies of the cards to combine for those specific parallels.
Gotcha. Well, and I think I want to stick here for a minute, because to me, this is an important aspect of ePack. And, one of the things that is real important to collectors is scarcity. And to some degree, everyone's worried about print runs. So it sounds like what you're saying is that when you release a product like Upper Deck Series 1, that you go into it with a specific amount that's almost pre-printed. It's not like it's like on demand where you could endlessly sell it, and it's like, oh, I got a Matty Beniers Young Gun, so we'll just print another one, ship it out to the other person. That there is kind of a defined amount of scarcity that's built into the product before it launches on ePack. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes. Yeah. Before anything's released, it's all built to a specific volume, and once it's there, it's what we've got. And as packs and boxes and cases are purchased, it dwindles down, and then once it's sold out, it's not available in the store anymore.
Okay, so let's kind of take the customer journey perspective for a second. So I go onto the site, I register, open up my free pack, I get a kind of an idea, okay, this is how it works, I'm comfortable with it, and now I go over and I buy a pack of Upper Deck Series 1. What happens then? Now that I've done the checkout, I've bought the pack, can you just kind of walk people through sort of the experience of opening the pack and what happens to the cards?
Yeah, for sure. So go to the store, browse, see what you want to get. I think the cool part of ePack is you can purchase a variety of different packs. So like Troy's saying, WandaVision's out right now, so you could add a pack of that with UD1, buy a pack of MVP. You could even buy something if it's available from a few seasons ago. So you can go through, pick whatever you want to purchase, whether that's a few packs here and there. If you want to buy a full box, a full case even, you could do so. You get those packs, you add them to your cart, you check out. And once you buy everything, it's going to go into your My Pack inventory. So you go to that page, look at all your packs that you've purchased, and you can select, if I bought a pack of 22, 23 UD Series 1, I can click open, and I'm basically going to be opening that pack as if it were the physical pack in my hands. I can click through, the foil wrapper will burn off, and I'll see card by card what was in that pack. So I can click through, see exactly what I got pretty instantaneously. And then once I get through that pack, I can either open the other packs that I just purchased or view those new cards in my collection. So those cards are immediately added from the fresh pack into your ePack collection, so you can manage that digitally. And then from there, you can start sending trades, You probably get some trades sent in once your cards are added to the marketplace, as other collectors can see those. And you can also tell at that point too which cards are physical versus which are digital, I think is a key part of it. So that's a big question we get is, since they're called ePacks, are all these digital cards? And so with UD1, UD2 probably being the most popular hockey products on ePack, generally the base set cards are digital. And that's kind of intentional just because a lot of times in the physical side too, you buy your box, you buy your case, and a lot of times the base set cards are just kind of discarded or given away. And so rather than take up that space, those are presented digitally, and you can actually take those, collect multiple copies of the same card. So if I'm looking at UD1, get 10 copies of the Connor McDavid base set card, and I can combine those digital cards into an ePack exclusive silver foil parallel. So it's not, even when they're digital cards, there's still kind of part of a physical component there. So you can trade for multiple copies of the same player, put those together, combine it, and then get that exclusive parallel. The only way you can get it is on ePack. So that's a really cool facet of the whole system as well.
I know you said most people kind of chuck their base card, but you should know Troy logs every base card into a spreadsheet because he is a giant nerd. And it's good for you to know that about Troy.
I had to explain the process on one show, and I think people are just like, "Oh my god, dude, you're wasting your time." But no, and then I put them in boxes by player, so I have them all by player, and I have my spreadsheet with all my base cards. But I said it's therapy for me. I like logging them.
Not I. One of the things too that I appreciate when you're talking about like buying, whether it's a pack or a box or case, and we'll use like UD1 or UD2 as an example. And I should say too that we learned the term UD1 and 2 from Billy. But that's like flagship, upper deck, series 1. That's the way you cool people say it. And so we're going to try to be cool and say it like that too. But when you go into the actual like shopping site to buy the pack, you can see not only the odds of hitting certain cards, and so you get a really good understanding of kind of what you're chasing in each pack. You can see a list of achievements, so all the different types of awards available through that series. And then there's also, and I think this is really an underrated feature, is the checklist, where you can pull up the full checklist and it automatically checks off the cards that you already have in your collection. And so those are a couple things that, just in my experience with the platform, that I found pretty valuable.
Yeah, I totally agree on that part with the checklist too. You can see, like you said, as you get cards added into your collection, the color actually changes to green to show, hey, I've got that card. And if you don't have it, let's say you're building the Young Gun set, you can go to the checklist, cards you've got will be in green. If you don't have one, you can click on the card name. It'll actually take you to the trading marketplace where you can see all the different copies that are available, and everyone that owns that, and you can start to trade from there. So it makes it really easy to, one, manage your collection. Hopefully that would save you some time, Troy, on the spreadsheets, but you can really easily just identify what you've got, what you're missing, and find what you're missing or what you're looking for on the marketplace within a few clicks.
So I know you mentioned that there are brands that you kind of retain as hobby exclusive, like the Cup, but are there any, what would maybe people might consider premium hockey brands that you guys have made available on ePack? Or you do, or still plan to, like maybe like an Ultimate Collection or Black Diamond or Premier or something like that?
Yeah, Ultimate Collection will be the one that's on ePack. And I want to say it was at least since 2016-17 has been on there. And so that's a really cool one to open on ePack because those cards are so unique with all the autographs and memorabilia. And as you open your packs, you see exactly what you get. So for those cards, the autographed, the memorabilia, the serial numbered cards, as you're opening those, the image you see is actually the physical card that you just got added to your collection. So that exact memorabilia swatch, that exact patch, the serial number, whether it's numbered 1 or to the player's jersey number, whatever, you see that as you're opening it, and that's the actual card you got. It's not just like some stock representation of what you're seeing. So you can see the slight variations between the autographs, between the memorabilia. It's just pretty awesome to see those cards on ePack. So Ultimate Collection, definitely a premium offering on there. We had both of the chronologies were on there as well. Those were pretty cool higher end products. Looking back at some of the retired players, I'm trying to think what else. SP Game Used also on there every year. So definitely a good offering from UD1 being our flagship product all the way through, Ultimate Collection and different stops in between with, Synergy, Allure, just a kind of an expansive offering. Platinum's another big one on ePack too. So a lot of different products at a lot of different price points, just to kind of offer as robust a selection of our hockey catalog as we can.
Well, and I'll admit I bought a couple, but I imagine that I think it was for a few weeks last month, you had some World Junior Championship game dated cards on there that may have had a Connor Bedard card in it. And I assume that was fairly popular on the platform.
Yeah, that was really cool to see. I mean, great accomplishment by that team and Bedard. We're really excited for. Can't wait to see where he ends up once he gets drafted. But, that's one of those unique products on ePack that you can't really offer in the physical side just because the moment happens, we can create the card and release it digitally. So you can purchase your pack, see what you got. In that case, for the Game Dated Moments product, they've got a few different chase variety parallels that you can pull. So you've got just the base version that you're guaranteed in every pack. But you've also got a silver parallel, a gold parallel, and even, a really rare photo variant. So as you're opening, you can see exactly which cards you got. They're available for 1 week only. And then once that week's done, the cards get printed and shipped out. And then you'll see the digital card shown there, which we consider physical pending. So just showing collectors that it's a digital image now, but it's eventually going to become a physical card. Once those physical cards are received in and scanned in, you get to see the scan of your card. And then at that point, you can ship it home. So it allows us to capture those really cool moments throughout the year that some of our athletes accomplish and get cards for those special moments into the hands of collectors as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and then another point I want to touch on too, and I think we briefly covered it, but maybe dive a tiny bit deeper, is there with various sets, there are exclusive cards that were not maybe in hobby or retail, but exclusive to ePack. And just to familiarize myself with the process, and because I'm a hockey card addict, I bought a few packs today, and I bought some UD1 packs, and one of the cards was a J-Rob hockey on display, and I'm like, oh, what is this? I haven't seen this before, right? And then I go through and went back to the odds and saw that it's a ePack exclusive and gives you the odds right there, so you can get kind of a sense of rarity. But do most sets have ePack exclusive cards, or is it just kind of certain products that you guys mix that in?
It does vary as far as what's inserted into the packs, if there are any ePack exclusives. It's kind of more up to the product team if that's how they want to split it out. So next time you have Billy on, you can grill him about what's ePack exclusive or what's hobby exclusive. But generally they'll have the achievements. So I don't know if that's something you want to dive into now, but that'll be the bulk of where those ePack exclusive cards come in. And those are cards that you can't pull from packs. So in at UD1, I can't pull a speckled foil Young Guns or a silver foil Young Guns. And I couldn't pull one of the Mastery achievement cards out of the packs, but I could earn those by collecting. And essentially the achievements are there to fortify collecting, reward collectors for putting together specific sets, kind of incentivize trading too, because a lot of those you wouldn't be able to complete without some help from other collectors and kind of working together to put those sets together and earn these exclusive achievement cards. So when a product goes live, like a good example, 22, 23 UD Series 1 hockey, the packs will go live and then we'll announce all the achievements too. So you can go to the product page, like you're saying, you can take a look at the checklist to see what's listed as the achievements. And then you can go to the achievements page and click on UD1 just to see each of the different achievements. So you can click and see what that card looks like. And then you can dive into what exactly is required to collect, to earn it, right? So UD1, look at something like the Mastery achievements that pretty consistent year over year. And that's, I collect my base set with the Young Guns and I'm going to get my Mastery A card. So I click on it, I see the Mastery A achievement, shows me that card, shows me which player is on it. And then I can look at view details to see exactly which cards are required. And then from there, I can not only see there's 250 cards that are required, I can see which ones I have. It'll populate my card in the space there. And if I don't have it, it'll show up as a blank and allow me to track my progress towards that specific achievement. So once I've got all the cards I need for it, you can click the redeem button to actually earn that achievement. And so the redeem functionality, it's a good one to touch upon just because a lot of collectors have questions on that, like what exactly that does. So we want people to be able to collect sets and earn these achievements and keep the cards that they use to earn that achievement, right? So if I collect the full base set, collect all the Young Guns, I don't want to give all those cards away just to get this Mastery achievement card. So what we do to track the status of those cards is once they're redeemed, they get a little orange R added to them. So I can see that I've already used those cards for an achievement, and anyone trading for those cards sees that they've already been redeemed for an achievement. So that just simply means they can't be used again. Somebody else can trade for that card and then try and earn that achievement again. But if it's a Young Guns card, I can still have that physical card shipped home to me or transferred over to ComC. So that's just a little watermark that we track digitally, the status of the card. It doesn't get marked as redeemed physically or anything like that. It's just an internal way of tracking so that that card couldn't be used for an achievement again.
No, that's a really good distinction I think that you're making. And a couple of things that I want to go back and just make sure that we understand, and maybe for the clarity of others too, is that, so when you're talking about, and I know things are subject to change, so I'll couch anything this because, maybe you might be listening to this episode a year from now. And so go to whatever set that you're working on or packs or boxes you're trying to buy and look for the achievements and award programs or whatever they have associated for each one. But just talking about what's been going on more currently is, so you have these Mastery achievements, and one might be collect all the base cards, 200 in the set. And so you get all 200 of them, you check on your checklist, they're all checked. Then there's an eligible redemption for a Mastery award, and you go and you redeem them, and then those cards are digitally redeemed. They can't be used for any other achievement or reward going forward, but then you get that physical card, but you don't lose your 200 base cards. And I think where that's more probably relevant is on like a Young Guns sort of Mastery achievement, where if you collected all 50 base Young Guns, you wouldn't want to lose all those. That'd be a hit, exactly. Right? In order to claim your reward. And then on the flip side of that, we have the case, and again, I'm using more what's happening currently, but these are really popular within the hockey hobby, are like the silver foil Young Guns, and then the next version or higher level achievement than that is the speckled rainbow, where you're actually combining. And so is it 3, kind of how it's been lately, where 3 base Young Guns, you can combine those, and that will be turned into a silver foil. That's your card you can have shipped home, but you no longer have 3 Young Guns at that point. You have 1. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, so that's the big distinction between the achievements, whether it says redeem or whether it says combine. So on the redeem side, those cards stay in your collection. They just have that little digital redeemed watermark, versus combining. Those copies are actually taken and removed from your account. They're deleted from inventory, and then the new card is added to your account. So in the case of UD1, for the base to silver foil, it's 10 copies of the digital base set cards. So, 1 through 200 in UD1, you get 10 copies of the same card. You click combine, those are removed from your account, and then the animation spits out a little silver foil card, and you've got that now added to your account. So that's a physical card. And just because it's a lot tougher on the Young Gun side to collect that many copies of the same card, the rates are a little lower. So where it's 10 copies of a base card to 1 silver foil, it's 5 copies of a physical Young Guns card into the silver foil. So,
and then is it 3 silver foil to speckle rainbow then?
Exactly.
Okay, so I was a little bit wrong there. So thank you for correcting me. And so at the end of the day, if you wanted a speckled rainbow Young Guns, it would essentially take 15 base Young Guns as it's currently constituted to get to that speckled rainbow.
Exactly. You'd have to essentially burn 15 copies of the physical Young Guns from your collection, and then you'd get that speckled rainbow foil parallel of it.
Yeah, and that's why we see such high prices, I think, on the secondary market. Because if there's a chased player where a Young Gun like a Matty Beniers, who maybe at the time of recording is $80 or $100 raw, you're looking at 15 essentially times 80 in value in order to get that speckled rainbow copy. But thank you for clarifying that, because I think that is an important distinction. Anything else that's good for people to know on whether it's combining or any of the achievements or awards before I want to ask about Pack Wars next, but want to make sure we cover all the bases here.
Yeah, I think that's a good distinction, just kind of understanding what redeemed looks like, that whole process. We get a lot of questions on combining to just understanding that whole process. And for a long time, it was figuring out where those silver foils and speckled rainbow foils were coming from. I think people weren't as familiar with ePack, a few years back, and would see those cards pop up and not really know that, okay, are these the exclusive cards or Easter eggs? We've never seen these before. And as ePack's grown and become more familiar with more collectors, I think that's where we've seen the popularity of those cards take off, and more people are comfortable taking their Young Guns cards or physical Young Guns cards on ePack and burning those, combining those to get these exclusives, because there's a better idea of how difficult they are to put together, and how rare those can be, like you said, especially for the bigger name players.
All right, Troy, any other questions do you have on just generally buying packs or boxes before we move on?
No, I was just going to reiterate that last point, Daniel. I was one of those people. I remember seeing an Ottinger speckled rainbow, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. And it took me a little bit to figure out where I could get that thing, and that's kind of led me to ePack in the first place. So I was definitely one of those people, but now that I know, it definitely makes sense. No, I think we've covered, the buying. Just to reiterate, kind of, you can buy packs, boxes, cases on some products. Some products, it's just boxes or whatever's available. But yeah, I actually, the more I use it, the more comfortable I get with it. And I love hearing the stuff about the achievements, which I look at as like almost little bounties. Like, right, we have the bounty programs in the physical product. And when you're on ePack, you have almost these bounty programs or achievements on these products. And I really like looking through those and going through them and seeing what's available. Like I saw the Austin Matthews 89 retro card that's available. That looks awesome. It looks like 89 Upper Deck cards that we all remember as kids. So I loved looking at that one. But yeah, so I'm good for now on where we're at.
Okay. I actually just thought of something that I think might be worth clarifying. When you buying packs aside, when you buy a box or a case, do you generally get the same box type odds and configuration and so kind of sort that you would get if you bought a physical box or a physical case?
Yeah, that's a great question. For something like UD1, you're getting 6 physical Young Guns cards in every hobby box. That's going to carry over to ePack too. And generally, if there's any sort of guarantee, like an auto per box, a memorabilia card per box, that's going to be communicated somewhere on the product page. And so we generally try and keep those same guarantees on the hobby side, on the ePack side as well, and try to make sure that's pretty clear on the pages, that if you're looking at the product for UD1 under the box, it'll say grab 6 Young Guns per box on average. So you'll get those 6 Young Guns in every box. And then at the case, if there's any specific case guarantees, try to include those there or in the product description. And then you can click over to the odds too and just see what the odds will look like over the entire run.
Okay, what are Pack Wars?
So after we launched ePack, we added in Pack Wars, which is a lot like the traditional hobby card shop game where everybody gets a pack and you open your pack and there's a statistic, at least for hockey, called out. So maybe like who's got the player with the most goals last season. Everybody's going to look through their cards and say, oh, I've got so-and-so, they had 52 goals last year, and you end up winning the prize. So we want to take that and make a fun gaming experience for collectors on the ePack side. And so we introduced Pack Wars with one of the MVP products. So essentially you buy your Pack Wars packs, and they can only be opened and used in this format. So if you buy a pack of MVP Hockey Pack Wars, you can't just open it like a traditional ePack. I guess you consider it a hobby pack, but the only way to open those cards and interact with them would be on the Pack Wars part of the site. So you go to the Pack Wars lobby. Either you could play against the computer, so you can always play, or you could play against another collector, so I could see who else is on at that time, challenge them to whatever product I've got, and then start the Pack Wars game. So you're going to open up your cards for MVP. You've got 5 base set cards that you're going to be using, and then you'll see the 3 different statistical categories, or basically the 3 categories that you're going to be playing for. So it may be, most goals career, tallest player, and, most seasons in the league, something like that. It'll just pick 3 stats at random. And so you'll go through your cards. You'll see each player's stats or height, if it's the tallest player, something like that. You'll see what each player has, essentially like you're looking at the back of the card and reading through the different stats to see who's got the highest. You then pick of your 5 cards which 3 you want to use. And then once you've made your selections, you can click on to the next step, and it'll show you your card versus the card that your opponent picked. And it's basically best 2 out of 3 or best of 3. So if I end up winning that, I'm going to get an additional prize card on top of the 5 cards I just got. So kind of unlike the game on the hobby side, you don't have to give up your cards that you got from the pack. Those will get added to your account. And then if you end up winning, you can get one of a variety of different prizes. So for MVP, you've got a lot of different prizes, some of the inserts that were included in the ePack release. And then there are instances of exclusive Pack Wars prizes. So for that, there are some printing plates thrown in there that you can win. So that's really cool. The only way you can get those is through winning some of those Pack Wars games. And then each week, we also introduce different leaderboard challenges so that there's a reason to keep playing each week, where you want to be in the top 5 or top 10, top 100 in wins, so that by the end of that week, if you are in one of those spots in the leaderboard, you're going to get whatever leaderboard achievement card has been advertised. So that can be anything from an MVP parallel number to 100 if you're one of the top 100. Maybe if you're in the top 25, you won a few more games that week, there's a parallel card number to 25. And then some weeks there's these really rare limited autograph parallels numbered to 5. And we've had some pretty big players in there too. So it's just a cool way to get people competing against each other, playing Pack Wars, engaging with the product, and then ultimately working up the leaderboard so that they can earn these exclusive leaderboard achievement cards.
Can you choose like who you play against? Like, let's say I wanted to mop the floor with Troy, and could I specifically say I want to take on Troy in a Pack Wars competition?
Yeah, as long as you and the other player are on at the same time, you can challenge each other in the lobby. So that makes it fun to compete with your friends and other collectors, see who ends up winning. And then if nobody's on, if you hop on late or really early in the morning, you can always just challenge the computer and get your games in that way as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, Troy is a night owl. So, right, Troy?
Yep.
4 a.m. Pack Wars. I'm sure that'll be happening pretty soon. I want to get in and dig through some of the kind of like the collection aspect of it. So we've talked about, right, you buy the packs or the box, you open them, they go into your collection, you can combine them, etc. But there is a feature where you can see your collection all in one spot. You can search through it or sort it based on, I think you guys call them attributes, right? So which cards are digital only, which cards are combinable, which ones are physical cards that you can have sent to you, which we'll get into in a moment. But it seems like that you guys have tried to really make it kind of easy because you can end up with a lot of cards in your collection to be able to quickly sort through them and do whatever task you're looking to do.
Yeah, for sure. I think when people have their collections and view their collections, no matter what the size of the collection is, what they're collecting, everybody kind of has their own way of sorting and displaying their collection. Some people may want to sort and filter by player, have everything organized alphabetically. So when you're viewing your ePack collection, we want to make sure you can do that as easily as possible too. So if you're just looking to see what you have from this year's UD1, you can filter just for that product. If you're trying to see, if you're a big team collector and you want to see all of your Penguins cards, you can filter just to Penguins. You can search for Sidney Crosby just to see the cards you have of him in your collection. So we make it really easy just to filter through and sort through your entire collection, basically in any way you can think of, whether that's by team, by product, by set, by year, by genre. If you're somebody that collects a multitude of different products from hockey to our miscellaneous offerings to Marvel, it's really easy just to go through and navigate that. And like you said, you can also just look at the digital cards, look at the physical cards, see what you can combine, what can be combined. And then from that page, you can also work towards trades and say that, I want to trade for more copies of this card, or see what you're missing and then trade for that card in particular.
One of the things that I think is worth covering, and I'm sure you guys have thought about a lot, but I can imagine, well, first of all, I'm pretty sure that there's at least a few users that have some pretty large and potentially valuable collections. And, maybe a fear that someone might have is, well, what if I have 10,000 cards in my ePack collection and I log in one day and poof, everything's gone? How have you guys kind of addressed the security and kind of like backup situation to make collectors feel that their collections are safe within the ePack platform?
Yeah, everything's, on the physical side, it's all securely vaulted and stored by ComC. Check out my cards. So huge level of safety with that. They're established. They're great at inventorying and keeping your cards safe. And then on the ePack side, everything's tracked securely. So there's no way for somebody to hop in and just take all your cards. Any incoming trades, you're reviewing and seeing exactly what people are trading for. You have to go in and actually review and accept each trade before cards can get moved out. So you've got a really good handle of everything that's available on your account and where it is and, what's coming in, what's coming out. And so I think as ePack goes on, we haven't had any issues like that where cards have gone missing or, anything's been removed. It's been very secure. Our development partner is in the credit card processing industry too. So security and safety is a huge aspect of everything they do. And that carries on to the ePack side too. So, definitely understand how valuable people's collections can be. And even if it's not a multi-million-dollar collection, it's still important to somebody. We want to make sure that their cards and inventory are protected. So I think as we go on, it's just more and more comfort knowing that we haven't had any issues. And, over 7 years in, we've got a secure and stable platform.
I think it's worth covering just going through the process of cards that you either trade for or you buy or get through an achievement that are kind of have that physical attribute, meaning that they can be sent to you. How does that process work? If I've got a card on ePack and I want to have it in my hands at home, what happens?
That's a great question. That definitely one to touch upon. So whether you purchase your packs and you get your physical cards that way, you trade for them, you earn an achievement. You don't have to ship them home. You can just leave them on the site and the inventory is managed on ComC. So, they'll keep your card there and you can leave it in your collection. Like there's plenty of cards from 15, 16 UD Series 1 that are still on the site that have physical inventory and people just want to manage it and keep it on their ePack collection, don't want to ship it home yet. And that's entirely fine. There's no cost from us for doing so. But, on the flip side, a lot of collectors want to have those cards in hand as soon as they can. And you have that ability. So you can go through your collection. And I think the easiest way to do it is just to filter for what we consider transferable. So physical items that you can ship or transfer over to ComC. So you go through your collection, you'd add them to your transfer cart. So that'll temporarily put them from your collection into this cart. And then when you're done adding everything in there, you can go over to the transfer cart, and then that's going to present you with two different options. So you can either click on ship home. So you'll basically pay for shipping there, choose the service that you want. If you want to expedite it, you can pay more to have them delivered delivered faster essentially. And the other option is transfer over to ComC. So the connection with ComC or Check Out My Cards is a huge part of ePack, and they're the ones that are storing and inventorying and housing all of our physical trading cards. So whether you choose to transfer to ComC and then ship it from ComC later, or ship it directly from ePack, that's all going to be handled by ComC. I think sometimes there's a question about that, or asking for clarification on, well, I shipped my cards from ePack, but they came from just ComC from Washington. How did that work out? And that's just because they're the ones that are storing and inventorying and managing everything. So even if it gets shipped from ePack, it's coming from the same place, still coming from ComC. So if I ship it, it's getting packaged and shipped directly to me. You have the option to add top loaders too. So if you've got some more valuable cards or rare cards, you want to make sure that they're safe and secure in the shipment process, you can do so, pretty easily. Just click add top loaders, and you can choose to leave some in the penny sleeves and have some top loaded. So that's a really cool feature of it. And then the other option is just transferring direct to ComC. So we're linked with them. As long as you've got a ComC account created, you can just transfer the cards from ePack to ComC. So the cards will, instead of showing up in your ePack collection, will now show up on ComC. And there you've got a multitude of different options of what you can do from there, which is really cool. You can either take those cards, leave them in your ComC inventory for a bit. You can buy other cards off ComC, whether if you collect other sports or other, Upper Deck products that aren't available on ePack, or, you can purchase other people's cards transferred from ePack on ComC and then decide to ship everything home at once. I guess really the most awesome part about that whole service is you don't have to ship individual cards one by one. Like if you were buying by eBay, there's not really an easy way of vaulting all the cards together and then putting them in one shipment. Or with ComC, you can leave things for a bit, pick up some cards here and there, transfer some more from ePack, and then have everything shipped at the same time. That's a really cool feature. And then if you got your cards on ComC, if maybe it's not something that fits in your personal collection, or you're not really interested in the card, you can actually list it for sale on ComC. So can't sell the cards directly on ePack. We want to just keep that trading ecosystem really clean. So the only way you can exchange cards is through trades. But on ComC, if you transfer it over there, you can, choose a price, list it for sale. And then if somebody else purchases your card, you'd get those funds added into your ComC account, where you could, use those to buy other cards on ComC or eventually cash that out. Or you could also list through ComC's eBay consignment feature and have that item sold on eBay or auctioned on eBay. So you could have a ton of cards for sale that you've never actually physically held in your hand. You purchased them on ePack, you transferred to ComC, you listed on ComC, and then you sold through eBay. So it makes that whole process of purchasing cards, selling cards, trading cards even easier as you take them from ePack and move them over to ComC.
I think that's a really great overview, Daniel, and just to kind of maybe tie in a hypothetical customer journey or hypothetical situation is you could go and we'll stay with like 2022 UD1, buy a pack or a box, and I get a Matty Beniers Young Gun in that, and I have a ComC account, or I can have it shipped home to me regardless if I just want the card as part of my collection. Maybe I already have it, so I'm like, well, I'll use the value of this to maybe fund another card purchase or some more boxes or whatever your goal or objective is. And if I do have a ComC account in that regard, I can transfer to ComC, and then essentially one option, like you said, would be to use their consignment services, have it up in an eBay auction without ever really seeing or touching the card, or having to ship it to me, ship it to to another service, and then you get all the benefits of consignment too, right? Where you don't have to manage the payment and the shipping and all that. That's all taken care of within the ComC service. So pretty seamless, I guess, in that regard.
Yeah, spot on. The other really cool feature that they just brought back, you can actually send through CGC and CSG to grade the cards now too. So I can transfer a card from ePack and then through ComC submit that for grading without ever having to take physical ownership or shipping that card to me first and then shipping to the grader. They'll actually handle that for you. So just another level of interaction and utility for your cards coming from ePack.
I want to go into next about trading more specifically, but Troy, any other questions you have for the buying, selling, or transferring?
No, it makes sense to me. I do want to shout out too. It took me literally 1 second to find out how to link my I don't have a ComC account, but if I created one and how to link it, it took me 1 second to figure it out. So kudos there. That's always a good sign when I can figure out how to get somewhere. But yeah, no, I'm glad you brought up the grading thing, because me and Josh talked about that, a couple days ago, where it's like, oh, well, now you can buy ePack, buy cards, and then ship it to ComC. And then if you want to grade it, now there's this grading option that's coming about too. So no, great overview. I really appreciate it.
One more distinction before we move on to the next one. You can transfer cards off ePack and put them in your ComC account, but once they're off, they can't come back in. So if you've transferred something to ePack or from ePack to ComC, couldn't transfer it back. Or if you purchase something else on ComC, you couldn't transfer that back to ePack. I know we get a lot of questions on that too, so I want to make sure to throw that one in there.
Yeah, and just to make sure too, it's only the cards that are physical, right? Not every card you get on ePack is going to have a physical component. So just to make that clear.
Yeah. If it's got the little blue icon that says physical, you can filter for physical transferable. Any of those cards can be transferred over to ComC.
So you can't send your base cards, Troy. That's a level of acceptance that you're going to have to work through.
I know.
Okay. We can find you a good therapist in a few months. I think you'll get
I promise you, when we get done, I'm going to buy some cards, because now I'm actually feel like I'm confident I can move around. And as you're talking, I'm doing stuff to try to see, okay, you're in this section. And it's pretty easy once you get going and moving around in it. So I appreciate that. All right, Josh, go to trading.
Well, I'll just say, Daniel, if you had ever wondered if this would be a good use of your time, I'm pretty sure Troy is cashing in his IRA right now. Getting ready to go deep on ePack. Okay, let's talk about trading. So how does trading work on your platform? So
once you've got your cards in your inventory, you got two options. You can either lock them so that no one else can see. If it's a PC item, you don't want to get trade offers for the item. You could just lock it so that takes it out of the marketplace. Nobody else can see that you have that card. Or you can leave it unlocked, and at that point, that card or any card that you have that's unlocked is going to show up in the trading marketplace. So let's say I purchased my packs of UD1. I think it's a great example. And I'm working towards stacking towards one of the cards that I want from the base set. So I can look for all the other copies of that card that are out there on the marketplace just by quickly clicking on trade. That's going to show me every card that's available in the marketplace right now. And from there, much like you can filter your personal collection, you can filter that trading marketplace of 80 plus million cards, which is pretty daunting to try and look through, down to a single player, a single year, a single set, even just a single card to see everyone else that has that card. And from there, let's say I click on the base set card and I want to see who owns that. Maybe it's somebody in my friends list that has that card. They'll show up higher on the list. I want to see that's somebody that's more reputable, that has higher ratings. Every trade that's completed, you get the chance to review the trade after it's been done. So I can say, this is a great trader. They made a fair offer. I'm going to give them 5 stars. So just right now, I'm looking through 22, 23 U Series 1 hockey. I can click on card number 1, which is Jamie Drysdale. It's going to show me everybody that owns a copy of that card. And then if I want to add that card to the trade, I'll just click on the little plus button to the bottom left corner of the card. And that's going to add that particular copy of that card from the collector listed below to the trade. And then from there, I can either go through and add other cards from that collector's collection, make it a more expansive, extensive trade, and then go into my own collection and add some cards that I think they'd want. I can see if there's anything in my collection that they have marked on their wish list, so I can easily see, they've got something I want, and I've got some cards that are on their wish list, so this trade makes sense for both of us. Go in, add all the cards, click on review trade just to take one last look at everything, make sure I'm comfortable with what I'm sending, what they're sending, and then click submit trade. So once I do so, those cards will still remain in my account. They're not, temporarily put on hold or anything like that. And the other user will get a notification that Daniel sent them a trade. So they can go in, review, and they can either just accept if they are really happy with the offer. It looks like a fair trade on both sides, or they can, send a counter offer. So it's really easy to go through and kind of negotiate the trade. You can even chat within the trade too. So maybe the initial trade had some cards that you're not interested in sending away, or, you're looking for something else in particular. You can message that collector, say, hey, I'm actually looking for this player or this instead, send a counter. And so you can go back and forth until you find an agreement. And then once you click accept, those cards are instantly swapped in the collection. So if I traded you a Cam Fowler basic card and you traded me a Jamie Drysdale basic card, that Drysdale would show up in my account right away. And then that Cam Fowler card would be in your account once the trade's accepted. So pretty easy, pretty seamless. And I think, it's great just trading within a product. Like UD1 gets dropped on the site and everybody's going crazy trading for that product. At the same time, you can trade anything you want for anything else that's on the marketplace, right? Like I can trade a card from 15-16 for something from 22-23. There's no limitations on that. If you're somebody that collects a variety of different products and different genres and offerings, you can actually trade a Marvel card for a hockey card. We've got UDA memorabilia pieces that are on the site. You can trade those for trading cards. Really endless opportunities there and tons of flexibility so that you can trade anything in your own collection for anything else that you can find on the marketplace.
I would assume that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that it's really important if you want to work towards trades or building up communities or work on an achievement that you fill out that wish list, because that's what really lets people know what you're looking for, and people can search that versus somebody maybe identifying a card you have in your collection, but then randomly having to try to guess what would be meaningful to you in a trade. So if you have that wish list filled out, then people, kind of like you said, Daniel, know exactly what you're looking for. And I also imagine if you're looking to facilitate a trade, that it helps by finding someone that has cards that you're willing to part with on their wish list, makes it probably a lot more successful in getting the trade done, and a lot quicker, and avoiding a whole bunch of back and forth trying to figure out what somebody might want.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's an important part to consider, and a key feature on ePack that maybe is underutilized, and some people may just not know it's there, but you can add and remove things from your wish list as you go. So even if you don't own a copy of a card, you can still go through the checklist and add that to your wish list. And then when you have that card, or when you have all the copies of that card you want, if you're combining for multiple copies, you can just take that off the wish list, and that helps with a lot of the communication and getting trades sent to you to start with, because if you don't have that wish list built out, it's sometimes difficult to really see what you're collecting unless you're posting in the forums and saying, hey, looking for Young Guns, or looking for Penguins or Sidney Crosby. Some people just kind of guess based on the avatar you've got, like which team you chose, and hope that they're sending you something that you're looking for, versus adding something to your wish list and being very transparent on the kind of cards that you're looking for, and pushing that out to the other collectors. Because the other really cool feature that you can see in your collection too is if you click on collect, you're viewing your collection, you can click on the little binoculars icon, which is see who wish listed this. So you open up your packs, you've got a card, and it's not something that fits in your collection, not something that you're really looking to hang on to, rather than just kind of aimlessly trying to trade that card or wait for somebody to send you a trade for that card. You can click on the little icon to see, okay, who exactly has wish listed this card, and then start a trade from there, so that you already, one step in, already look like working towards trading cards to people that are actively seeking out that card.
No, that's an awesome feature. Okay, I want to kind of end our conversation around maybe what's next for ePack, but before we get there, just want to make sure that you're the guru. What did we decide he is? He's the ePack sensei or whatever. Is there anything that we missed, or from just like an overview perspective, that's important for collectors to know about?
I think we've covered a lot of the big ones. Just talking through some of the achievements. It's not something that's exclusive to particular products. Like UD1, UD2 aren't the only products that have achievements. A couple of other popular ones out there for O-Pee-Chee Platinum, they have these rainbow color wheel parallels that are unique to ePack. So those are gorgeous cards that you get from combining the digital base set cards. I think those are gaining a lot of traction as we release year after year of Platinum on ePack. Synergy's got some great cards, and that one's translated really well to ePack with the Cast for Greatness achievements. They've got some exclusive metal cards that are printed on green, and there's some autograph achievements you can get there too. So I think, as you go through ePack, like checking out what some of those achievements or what some of the products bring from the achievement side too, just to see, okay, beyond just buying the packs, what can I also earn that, I can't find anywhere else? Or on the flip side, even if you're interested in purchasing a product and you're not going to go in that heavy where I'm not going to be able to earn some of these achievements, you still are going to get some additional value to your cards that are tied to those achievements, because there are going to be other collectors, actively seeking those cards out to work towards those achievements. So you get that kind of added benefit, even if you're not one of the big hunters, tracking down some of these more limited and valuable achievements. So that, beyond just having the achievements available to collect, there's plenty of the easier achievements that basically anyone could put together and through some trading, purchasing some packs, you can finish. And if you're not going for those like final level achievements, you're still going to get the added benefit of those being there and other people, looking for the cards that you've pulled through your packs. But I think touched upon a lot of the biggest features on ePack, walk through the core concepts and functionality. So
I think it's a great overview, and I definitely learned a lot. I'm sure Troy did too. But before we kind of wrap up here, is there any initiatives or new features or kind of exciting stuff that you guys are working on for the ePack platform that you want to share with us today and break on our show and make us look good?
Yeah, for sure. So in July, we launched the second platform that ties in with Upper Deck ePack, which is Collect Forever. So on that site, it's more collectible focused, where you can purchase different collectibles like Funko Pops. There was a exclusive Michael Jordan Funko Pop that was available there, as well as pre-order comic books. So those you purchase on Collect Forever and they transfer into your ePack collection. So just, one additional type of collectible that's available on ePack, and you can trade those for trading cards. So if you're somebody that collects cards, you collect memorabilia, you collect coins, Funkos, comics, all that's exchangeable on Upper Deck ePack. So, now that we're 6-7 months out from that launch, it's pretty cool to see where that's been and see all the comic books adding in there. And I'm sure we'll have different types of collectibles that will translate a little bit more towards the hockey listeners that we got here, as opposed to some of the comic books or Funkos. And then on the ePack side, as we talk through functionality, I think we're always trying to add new features and, give collectors a more bust-proof collecting experience. So just look for updates on what's new and what's coming out. On the product side, I think a really cool one to talk through is Game Day Moments. We saw it with the Team Canada World Juniors set, but we do one of those products for hockey too. So we take the most popular or momentous events from the previous week of the NHL season, and we make a card for those. So as we're talking now, we got the All-Star game that just happened over the weekend. So you'll see a couple of those All-Star Game Day Moments cards. And those are limited. If it's a base moment for a veteran, those are limited to $5.99, and you get the rookie cards that are limited to $11.99. So they're a nice limited offering, and really cool because they get released so quickly after the moments actually happen. And if you collect through the whole set, it's throughout the year, you actually get an autographed parallel of one of the cards that was released. So it's a cool way to, one, if you're a player collector, a team collector, kind of document the season that way, picking up particular cards here or there. Or if you're just a general hockey fan, you could collect the entire set throughout the year, come back each Friday and pick up the set, and then work towards that end-of-year autograph parallel achievement.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to document moments, right? And so a traditional set of hockey cards really documents a year, right? That's to really tell the story of what the year was for the player. But if you think of whether it be maybe your favorite player's last game before they retire, or if and when maybe a couple years from now, Ovechkin breaks the goals record, right? That could be a card that you might want to jump on, or when Connor Bedard scores his first NHL goal, right? And so if you PC any of these guys, or even probably from an investment standpoint, it's really a significant moment in the history of the sport from a sports card perspective. Using a kind of on-demand feature like Game Dated Moments allows you to capture that specific.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I think this was a good overview. I learned a lot. Troy, do you learn anything?
Yeah, this
today?
was fantastic. I love doing these, and I actually following along was awesome because now I feel like I've improved my skill level about 100% on ePack, and now I'm going to be in trouble and start buying a lot of stuff. So I probably shouldn't say that on the podcast. My wife might listen. No,
she doesn't listen. Don't worry. So this is part 4 of Hockey Cards 101. Like I said, if you missed any ones of part 1, 2, or 3, you can go to hockeycardsgongshow.com. We have a specific Hockey Cards 101 section there. Really interested to get everyone's feedback on this, so please message us on all of our social media. Don't call Daniel. You just message us, and we'll reach out to him if need be. We're, of course, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, all the YouTube, all the platforms. So you can just go ahead and reach out to us there. Thank you very much, Daniel, for your time today. Really appreciate you being a tour guide through the whole ePack universe and ecosystem.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me on, guys. Hopefully it's not the last time, and maybe next time we'll bring Billy or Tony along to you.
Oh, yeah, we have a way of asking repeatedly, so get used to it. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll be back soon with part 5 of Hockey Cards 101. I don't know, Troy, have we figured out what we haven't even figured out?
I think we figured out what we're doing next.
Per usual, it's a Gong Show. We don't have our life together. But the Hockey Cards 101 and the Hockey Cards Gong Show podcast is a production of Dollar Box Ventures LLC. Thank you all, and we'll see you again soon.